Hello, good morning, good afternoon. It's midday, and welcome to how to answer questions on the spot without freezing or over explaining. So, if you're joining live, please say hello in the comments and tell me where you're watching from. If you're on the replay, you're very welcome. This will still be very useful. So, I want to start by being very clear about who this session is for. Because if it isn't you, you'll feel it quite quickly. So if you work in English, if you're competent, if you know your work, but when someone asks you a question on the spot, your answer doesn't always come out the way it sounds in your head, then this is for you. And notice what I didn't say. I didn't say if your grammar isn't good, if you're learning English, if you're a beginner. I'm not talking to beginners. I'm not talking to people who need to learn English. I am talking to experienced professionals, people who are good at what they do, people who are relied on, people who are competent, people who leave meetings thinking, I know more than how that sounded. So if you've ever felt your stomach tighten slightly when someone says, can I just ask you something? Then you're in the right place. Today we're talking about how to answer questions on the spot without freezing or over explaining. Even when you haven't rehearsed, even when the question catches you off guard, even when the room goes quiet and all eyes are on you. So, before we go any further, I want to say something important. This problem feels personal when it happens. People don't usually say this out loud, but they think it. What if I'm not as capable as they thought? What if I sounded junior? What if this changes how they see me? What if I damaged my credibility just now? These situations always give that imposter syndrome time and energy to just roll on in. And these moments matter so much. It's not just about answering the question, it's about identity. It's about how you are perceived, how much of a leader you sound, whether your voice matches your role. And that's why advice like just be more confident or fake it till you make it, don't overthink it, is completely useless. You're not overthinking, you're thinking under pressure without structure. Let me describe, for those of you with dogs, I've just been given this by my dog. So, yeah. So, let me describe a situation I hear about almost every week, if not every day. You're in a meeting. It might be a regular team meeting, it might be a senior leadership meeting, it might be clients, it might be an interview or a promotion conversation. You're listening, you're following, you're thinking clearly. And then someone asks you a direct question. Not aggressive, not rude, not emotional, just direct. What's your position on this? Can you explain your decision? Why should we go with your approach? At that moment, something changes. Your mind goes blank, or your thoughts scatter, or you suddenly become very aware of your wording, your tone, your accuracy, your English, or you start talking and you don't know quite how to stop. Perhaps your voice tightens and goes up, your jaw clenches, and you start squeaking a little bit. So when you start talking, you give context, you explain background, you add disclaimers, you soften your message, you try to be precise. Has this ever happened to you? Afterwards, you replay it on the walk out of the office, in the car, in the shower. You think, why didn't I just say it simply? That did not sound as strong as I felt. They probably think I'm less of a leader than I am. And here's the important part. Freezing doesn't always look like silence. Sometimes it looks like over-explaining. Sometimes it looks like talking around the point. Sometimes it looks like sounding careful instead of clear. From the outside, people don't see panic. They see lack of clarity. And clarity is how leadership is judged. It's not a personality flaw. It's not a lack of intelligence. And it's very, very rarely about English level. In fact, this happens more to capable people because capable people see complexity. They understand nuance. They don't want to be inaccurate. They care about how things land. And under pressure, this creates overload. Most people assume this is a confidence issue or an English issue. They tell themselves, I need to prepare more. I need better vocabulary. I need to be more confident. That sounds logical. It sounds responsible, but it doesn't fix the problem. What's really happening is this. Pressure changes how your brain works. In that moment, your brain is doing too many things at once. It's thinking, translating, choosing words, monitoring tone, managing judgment, managing risk. And if English is not your first language, that's an extra layer. So you're carrying double cognitive load. One part of your brain is focused on the idea, and the other part is focused on the language. Native speakers usually carry one load, and that's a rough load as it is. You're carrying two. So when people say, just answer naturally, what they really mean is answer without pressure. But the pressure is the whole point of these moments. When your brain is overloaded, it doesn't fail, it protects itself. And the first thing it lets go of is structure. And when structure disappears, your answer disappears with it, even when the thinking is still there. This is why very intelligent professionals can often sound hesitant. Not because they are hesitant, but because their thinking has no shape under pressure. Here's a pattern I see all the time. Someone has a difficult meeting or an interview or a promotion conversation, and they say, next time I'll prepare more. And they do. They write notes, they rehearse phrases in the mirror, they plan their answers. But then the question is slightly different. The timing is different. The pressure is higher. Suddenly, all of that preparation doesn't help. It's like memorizing answers for an exam and then being asked, A completely different question. Preparation helps content. It does not help thinking out loud under pressure. What you need, you'll be delighted to know, is not more information. You need something your brain can rely on when it can't think perfectly. Perfectly is a strange word because I feel nature is the only perfect thing. So if you're striving for perfection, relax a little. So let's talk about over explaining for a moment, which is one problem that a lot of people have. People don't over explain because they're messy thinkers. They over explain because it feels safer. Over explaining does three things psychologically. First of all, it buys time. Second of all, it avoids full commitment. And thirdly, it reduces the risk of being wrong. So when you don't lead with the answer, you don't have to stand fully behind it. So if you do tend to over explain, it's not because you lack authority, it's because you're trying to protect yourself in a high stakes moment. Structure allows you to think and answer clearly without feeling exposed. I want you to think for a moment. Think of the last question at work that caught you off guard. Don't analyze it, just notice what your first instinct was. Did you want to explain first? Soften the point, soften the answer, delay the point? That instinct is not random. It's your brain trying to survive that pressure. So, what I'm going to show you gives you your instinct somewhere safe to land. So, you don't need to sound perfect. You don't need the best answer. You don't need to impress anyone. You need a reliable structure that your brain can grab onto when the pressure hits. When the structure is there, your breathing changes, your pace slows, and your voice steadies. And you sound more like a leader without even trying. So I'm going to share a simple structure with you now. This is not theory. This is what my clients actually use in meetings, interviews, leadership conversations, and it works. So, step one, anchor. The first step is what I call an anchor. It's a short sentence that buys you time, signals control, and tells the listener that you're thinking clearly. For example, that's a good question. Let me answer that clearly. There are two things to consider here. This is not filler. This is you taking the floor. Senior people do not rush into answers. They create space first. So, step one, anchor. Step two, answer first. This is the hardest step for so many people. Most professionals do the opposite. They explain, they justify, they build context. Senior communicators lead with the answer and then expand only if needed. I'm going to say that again, only if needed. If someone asks, do you think this approach will work? A senior answer sounds like this. Yes, and here's why. That one sentence changes everything. The listener relaxes, the room stays with you, and you sound decisive. Step three. So, having anchored and then given the answer first, then expand selectively. So this is selective expansion. One reason, one example, and one clarification. Not everything you know, not all of your experience, not every detail, because senior people don't download that information. They choose what matters. You can always add more. It's impossible to take words back. So, anchor sentence, answer first, expand selectively. Let me give you a real example. I worked with a client recently, very senior, highly respected on paper. In meetings, she would freeze when questioned. Afterwards, she'd say, I know the answer, I just can't access it fast enough. So, we did not start making her feel more confident. We just gave her a structure that she trusted, and everything changed. Confidence flooded in. Her voice did not get louder, it got calmer. Her voices didn't get longer, they got shorter, clearer. And the feedback she started hearing was, you sound very clear. That was a very strong answer. I like how you framed that. Nothing about her intelligence changed, nothing about her English, only the structure holding everything together. So if you're listening to this and thinking, this is exactly what happens to me, I want you to hear this clearly. There's nothing wrong with you. And this is absolutely fixable. No one ever taught you how to think out loud under pressure. I have put together a free executive meeting scripts pack with exact phrases you can rely on when your brain goes blank. Start there. Use them. Let your brain experience what it feels like to hold structure in the moment. And if you want to go deeper, if you want live practice and real, genuine feedback, that's the work I do with clients long term. You don't need to become someone else. You need your thinking to survive the pressure. So, I hope that this training was useful for you. And I will put the link to the scripts pack in the comments section of this training. And if you have any questions, feel free to either reach out to me directly or put a message into this thread. But I will put the link to that scripts pack. So it's really important, if this really resonates with you, then download that scripts pack. Use it. Start there. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you very soon.